Ripple is operating with up to 30 important banks around the world on critical financial institution virtual foreign money. They've best been capable of announcing 5 or 6 of those partnerships. Well, who are the relaxation of them? Well, I am going to take some time these days to go through. I've been discovering this all day. This is Sunday. I've spent my entire day putting this collectively for you. Let's cross ahead and get into it. I'm going to open your eyes and show you some relevant bank digital forex partnerships that Ripple has that no person is talking about. Are you equipped? Do me a desire. If you like the content on this video, please hit like. That's the first rate factor that you may do. It allows me to get in the front of more human beings. And in case you've come lower back and you've watched 5, 6 of my films and you're no longer but subscribed, reflect on consideration on doing that. That in reality allows me out. Let's pass ahead and get into this. You're going to love this. It's an extended video, but geared up for all of it. I would tell you that out of doors of the U.S. you already know, the SEC case had almost no effect on our capability to get conversations and projects going with relevant banks. I recognize right here inside the US, we recognition loads on the US, that is what you'll count on. But the fact is that the relaxation of the sector does now not see things the same way. I think it's been clean for some time that countries like the UK and Switzerland and Japan have been very clean that Xrp is not a safety. So besides transferring directly to the CBC side, it has now not absolutely been an obstacle. Since we began 2.5 years in the past in this task, we've announced 5 different countries that are running with us. We have a comparable wide variety that aren't announced. And then we have, you recognize 20+ different energetic discussions underway. So we've introduced 5 special countries which might be operating with us. We have a comparable variety that are not introduced. And then we have, 20+ other. Okay, 30 imperative banks is how many Ripple is operating with. Who are those vital banks? Right. The ones we understand about are Palau, Hong Kong Monetary Authority, Montenegro, Colombia, Bhutan, and Georgia. So who are these different critical banks, right? Let's get into that. This goes to be a laugh, so we're going to get there. It's simply going to take a touch bit to get there. Ready? So Ripple joins the BIS task force for Move Border Bills. This allows Ripple to get in and meet with different countries' leaders for vital bank digital currency. I do think this changed into a huge step in Ripple's future to paintings with governments around the sector for principal bank virtual foreign money. And in case you take a glance here, when you look at BI's cross-border payments and interoperability extension task force, you may see some thrilling names here. Let me simply factor those out. I'm positive I've confirmed you this before, but look ahead to this proper. So you have SWIFT right here, of Path, Ripple is right here. You have Payments Canada, you have PayNet Malaysia, you have MasterCard, Ibanez, you've got Pass-Border Interpayment Gadget referred to as SIPS, Bank of China is here, Deutsche Bank is here, but you also have Buna, right? What the hell is Buna? Well, let's move ahead and check that right here. I'm going to display you that during only a second. Let me come lower back to this real quickly. So principal banks around the world, Saudi central banks and the Arab Monetary Fund broadcast the inclusion of the Saudi Riyal as settlement forex in Buna via Ripple associate NCB Saudi Arabia. So here is a reference to Ripple and Buna. Okay. And so National Commercial Bank of Saudi Arabia joins Ripple in it. You additionally have this Saudi Arabia primary bank symptoms blockchain cope with Ripple, and then you definitely have Saudi Arabian significant bank has been a long-term companion with Ripple, including Sama. That's the Saudi Arabian Economic Authority, right? So they have got partnerships in this location. And then, of course, you have Buna, the Arab Economic Budget Move Border Charge Device, has rolled out its immediate payment carrier, providing on-the-spot and seamless pass-border bills, getting rid of the traditional limitations for time, value, and complexity. So Matthew Allen Smart points this out. Air Economic Fund, the usage of Ripple's net for financial inclusions. Buna is to assist Arab banking using blockchain, new enterprise models, the usage of Ripple's generation. Here is Buna, right? And I'm going to show you this in just a second. Right? Here's just some statistics about it. We do not want to read all this jazz if you want to pause the video and do this, but here is the juice. This is what I want to expose you. So as for the second one version, the Ripple's DLT-based TOTI solution, Xrp that makes use of crypto asset XRP to enable remittance services, affords a decreased foreign exchange fee costs and makes sure quicker agreement, right? So we recognize that this is one of the technology on this new charge device known as Buna. Right, and we do talk approximately, you realize a person's pointing out XLM and XRP here, and then you may visit Buna.company, brings you to this internet site right here. Let me simply display you the preliminary website. So here is the Buna.co website, same brand, same the entirety. So we recognize this is it. If you need to head under resources proper, if you go beneath reference files, you could in reality begin pulling up a few really cool records. The first element I pulled up became this listing right here, individuals listing. So this is the 2022 annual file for Buna. And in case you scroll down, it offers you all of the members in this Buna environment. It talks approximately 147 economic institutions are at special ranges of the onboarding approaches into Buna, together with 100 monetary establishments that have signed the participation agreement, and which out of 77 monetary establishments are completely operational. But test this, we're speaking approximately vital bank virtual currency, right? Look at some of the central banks that are connected into Buna, right? You have banks from everywhere in the world, including Algeria, Jordan, Bahrain, Egypt, IO, Iraq. Primary banks of Iraq's in here. You have the UAE, first Abu Dhabi financial institution. You have Tunisia, you have Oman, Morocco, Mauritania, I screwed that up, I'm sorry, Lebanon, KSA, and a path, Jordan. I consider that a number of the CBDC partnerships that haven't been introduced yet are in reality banks, which can be on this list inside the Buna surroundings. I do not know why Ripple hasn't announced a number of those yet. I do suppose it's miles coming. You also look here, it says widespread chartered Germany, Buna's Euro, and FHI, right? There's quite a few connections right here on this environment. You also have the advisory board for Buna, okay? The reason I need to factor this out is I've taken the time to analyze every unmarried this sort of banks. And what I can tell you is that while you start Google looking each this kind of banks, greater than more than now not, maybe 6 out of 10 or 7 out of 10 of these banks are actually Ripple partners. All right, let me display you this. I'm just going to undergo this quite fast. I do not want to examine all of these things to you. However, I'm just trying to point out a number of the connections here. Right, so first of all is the United Arab Bank working with Ripple. Based totally at the to-be-had records, there is no direct evidence that the United Arabian is working with Ripple. However, several different banks and economic institutions inside the United Arabians, UAE, have mounted partnerships with Ripple. So no longer exactly this financial institution, however, the National Bank of Araja, the National Bank of Abu Dhabi, and then Ripple has recently acquired a major approval license for the Dubai Financial Services Authority, which has some of the most important banks, the largest insurance organizations, and the most important financial industry agencies inside the world, which can be a part of the DIFC, and Xrp is permitted for use inside the DDIFC, a path Saudi Arabia's imperative bank symptoms cope with Ripple. Ripple to supply real-time payments from Oman to India, the use of blockchain. You additionally have Dank Donkofor Bank launches cellular banking bills in Oman to India with Ripple in it. National Bank of Egypt begins using Ripple in it. This will be a relevant bank virtual foreign money partner. You additionally have 13 African countries utilize Ripple's XRP. Here's a file. Here are the international locations internal of Africa. And this is probably multiplied due to the fact that this document, this is some years old. So take a look at these international locations. You have Benin, Burkina Faso. I'm not going to name them all. I'm going to scream all up. But you've got Egypt, Ghana, Kenya, Mali, Niger, Nigeria, Senegal, South Africa, Togo, and Uganda. Oh, I just failed to say this one due to the fact I'm going to screw this one up. But Ripple has the keys to Africa, man. Also, Thunes Bank, this is one among Ripple's partnerships that use Ripple and XRP. This is 2022. Thunes companions with Actual Jaffa Bank. Expands bank payout services throughout Morocco. You also have the National Bank of Kuwait, faucets Ripple for brand new remittance services. You have Egypt's biggest financial institution joins Ripple next, past border bills. You recognize it just maintains